Russia today convened a meeting of the UN Security Council on Ukraine, as they called it. Nebenzya, that is, a representative of the Russian country, was not there. There was his deputy, who simply, in fact, used this platform as his boss, traditionally, to promote Kremlin narratives. In addition to the already familiar messages about the so-called Kyiv regime, well, which I don't even see the point in voicing now, because you all already know them, deputy of Nebenzya, in fact, tried to justify Russian aggression against Ukraine to the United States. He said the following, and I quote, "We do not seek the destruction of Ukraine, its culture and identity. We advocate that Ukrainian culture coexist in this country next to Russian culture, as it happened decades earlier, without any problems and conflicts." I'll pause here right away, without any problems and conflicts, well, as if he needs to read the real story, and not listen to Medinsky or Putin, because conflicts and problems have been constantly over hundreds of years of history, in fact, of Ukraine, which existed, in fact, next to this country Russia. It used to be called differently. Then this deputy said the following, "We are not fighting with Ukrainians, they are a fraternal people for us, we are fighting with the criminal Kyiv regime." And Ukrainians are increasingly aware of all this. We want to have Ukraine as a neighbor, not anti-Russia. In the same way, attention, as it is risky to assume, the United States would not have coexisted with anti-America. End of quote. There are 2 points at once. First, Ukraine understands that, unfortunately, Russia will not disappear anywhere. And when the war ends with diplomacy, and it will end sooner or later, our country will have to live next to this hi-hat neighbor in the future. But we do not want to live next to anti-Ukraine. We are two different countries. Not brothers, not sisters, not some old men there. It's just that these are two completely different countries, with a distinct mentality and approach to business and politics. Absolutely. And the goal, as it were, of Ukraine is to survive, because it was Russia, which has always been anti-Ukraine, that attacked our country. And he is trying, in fact, now to say something there that, like, this is anti-Russia here. Really? A lot of questions already arise here. And the second point is that this character said that we are in favor of Ukrainian culture coexisting in this country next to Russian culture. And we do not seek the destruction of Ukraine, its culture, and unity. It is very significant that today the propaganda publication, RIA Novosti, wrote an article in which, in fact, the following was written. They wrote there that there was no other option. No one should remain alive on the territory of Ukraine. What does this Polyansky, Nebenzya's deputy, say there? Here is the official RIA Novosti. This is a well-known propaganda publication. They say this, and he is trying to tell someone something else. So let's move on to what was heard there from the United States. I will briefly say, and then we will go to a conversation with the guest. US President Trump wants to conclude agreements to end Russia's war against Ukraine by August 8th. This is exactly what a senior American diplomat allegedly said to members of the UN Council. I quote, "Both Russia and Ukraine must agree on a ceasefire and a lasting peace. It's time to make a deal." President Trump has made it clear that this must be done by August 8th, and the United States is ready to take additional measures to ensure peace, the character said. Here, again, Mr. Stopak and I have already partially touched on this topic, but what is it about? I have already lost count of what term it is. How many times has it already been heard that we must conclude peace? If Ukraine did not refuse, Ukraine did not want to start this war in principle. Russia does not want to. Here the question is for them, absolutely for them and only for them. And until August 8th? If I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me, back in March we agreed to a ceasefire.